Knockout Legends in the building. Like, comment, and subscribe. So today I want to talk about Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren. So I'm going to play this little insert of a Seconds Out interview with Frank Warren, and then I'm going to unpack what he has to say about Eddie Hearn. So with no further ado,
vociferous critics from the Ngannou fight has been Eddie Hearn. I'm sure that won't surprise you too much. Particularly, I'm not sure why this is a particular bugbear, but about Fury missing the post-fight press conference, or there not being a post-fight press conference. What do you make of that? And also, have you seen Eddie's latest comments regarding you, I think in the Daily Mail?
Look, the vagina monologues every day. He does not stop. Give it a rest, please. Give it a rest. Who cares what he says? And what he's saying on the Mail?
Something about you're like a stalker fan, a bit like Eminem's Stan character from the song, which was a Christmas #1, by the way. I'm not sure how that ever happened, but regardless, that you're obsessed with him, I guess, was the overriding point.
How many interviews do I do over the course of a month? How many do I do you? One or two?
Yeah, not enough for my liking.
Okay, or with anyone for that matter, compared with these 5 a day. You know, most people have 5 fruits a day for the well-being. He needs to do this to keep his ego going, I suppose. Look, I don't really care what he said. What was the other thing that what did he say? I was going to chin him. I wanted to chin him.
Yeah.
I mean, does he honestly think that I've got the time to stand in that queue of people who want to chin him? I've got better things to do in my life. I enjoy what I'm doing. We're flying. I know one thing I do know is we're now the opposition, whereas before we were out the game.
Well, it's good to hear that you've got that attitude. I mean, does it bother you when he says things like that? Because obviously you're focusing on what you're doing, but
I've always focused on what we're doing. That's because that's what counts. What I say, what he says, is what you do. And at the end of the day, I can't really be bogged down with, with what he's doing. He's getting. I notice there's a little bit of the old. I see the old beard's going grey now, so the worry's got to be getting to him a bit now. I don't know, but we'll see. I can't really give a toss what he's doing. All I know is what we're doing, and we're doing extremely well and going from strength to strength. Queensbury. We've got some great fighters there. We work with some really good people, good managers. My son Francis managing boxers and doing well, and lots of other guys and trainers that we work with. George is a CEO. He's doing a fabulous job. We're a good team. All of us work together really well to make things happen. And as I say, I haven't got time for all the nonsense. I don't mind a bit of the fun every now and then and having a bit of laugh about it. But if he actually thinks I take that serious, and if he thinks I sit indoors thinking about him, come on.
I mean, us in the media have to take some of the responsibility for stoking this perceived rivalry.
You don't have to stoke him up. I mean, he can't help it, can he? I've got to tell you, Sam, I really mean this from my heart. He's the best PR man that we've got at Queensbury, because all he does is talk about us and our shows. He don't talk about his own shows.
You put him on a retainer.
So from the clip there, we have a lot of things that we have to address. Now, Frank Warren is actually pretty funny and very cynical, and what he says about Eddie Hearn is, to be fair, spot on. But there is a but. The but is that it comes across like they're both old women that are fighting in a fish market over who wants the fish. Now, Frank Warren mentions that he doesn't care about Eddie Hearn, but he always talks about us, about Queensbury, and he can basically be RPR. And to an extent that's true, because he mentions how many interviews he does and how many Eddie Hearn does. Now, what Eddie Hearn said about Tyson Fury is actually true. Confidence is low, and after the Nnganou fight, he didn't want to do any interviews. But that's the thing with Fury. When he's flying high, he's King Kong. When he's flying low, he's basically less than probably the lowest of the low, in the sense that his mood's low. Now, I've heard before that he is bipolar, and it was a well-known fact in boxing. Anyway, and isn't it funny that somebody that reckons to have all this confidence and all this machismo and all this self-belief, the moment something doesn't go right, they hit the lowest of the low. Remember, he blew up to, I don't even know how much it was, but I think it may have been just under 30 stone, because he was that out of shape and that low that he couldn't motivate himself. And it took Ben Davidson and Billy Joe Saunders to get him back to a reasonable fighting shape, because of the mood elevation that these two people bring. Now, back to what Eddie Hearn was saying. It's, to be honest, true. And obviously, because of the way Nnganou fought and it kind of had an influence on Fury, it made Fury doubt himself. So at this moment, Fury's doubting himself. And in a way, so is Frank Warren, but he's trying to blow the smoke over everyone's eyes, and he basically wants to validate Fury and validate that Undisputed is happening. But the irony is Fury's a hypocrite, and so is Frank Warren, because he's saying you don't care about Eddie Hearn, but Eddie Hearn's throwing shade and throwing light on the bullshit that you're coming up with, because Fury was quick to say, if Usyk doesn't fight me on the 23rd, I'll sue him. We got a contract. Now, you're not fighting on the 23rd. Surely Usyk may sue you because you've got a contract. But we know it doesn't work like that with boxing. The sanctioning bodies suspended Fury, so they're going to give him more time and he can fight when he needs to fight. So look at this move around musical chairs that's going on in boxing. Certain people get certain favours when it suits certain sanctioning bodies and it suits certain promotional outfits. It's just bias. But anyway, back to what Eddie Hearn was saying about Frank Warren. It's kind of true. And then obviously what Frank Warren's saying back, he doesn't care, he doesn't this, he doesn't whatever, but he does. Else you wouldn't be speaking about Eddie Hearn. And, you know, you're making little jibes about, you know, he's getting grey there, he's getting grey. But the thing is he's catching up to you. That's why he's getting grey. He's getting old like you. Boxing does that to people. The politics, the corruption, the chatting bullshit, all that, it can age you overnight. Look at Bricktop, you know. So anyway, it is actually funny watching these two go back and forth at each other and throw shots. But one thing Frank Warren acknowledges is that Eddie Hearn acknowledged him and said that they are actually the opposition now. They're not finished, they're the opposition. In some respects it's true. But again, I don't know, because not everybody's shows are that great. I think what's happened with boxing is it's got diluted to the point that the shows that are getting put on, they're crap or mediocre at best, because none of the promotional outfits will work with each other. If they did, we'd have better fights and better matchups, but because they all hate each other and can't stand each other and don't want the other person or promotional outfit to make money, it's never going to happen unless people jump ship and turn rogue and become Ronin and then fight on different cards. Then, you know, it may happen, but in this respect it's never going to happen because nobody wants to work with each other. If people did, and there were more fights where, say for example, Boxer worked with Queensberry worked with Matchroom worked with PBC and so forth, and Wasserman and whoever else, we'd get more quality fights. But the landscape is so tribalist and so separate, it's never going to be like that. So the main two in the UK are just going to bicker and fight like old women. So we're never going to actually get the matchups that we actually should get because of politics and basically envy and hate. So anyway, leave your thoughts in the comment section. Tell me what you think about what Frank Warren says about Eddie Hearn. Like, comment, and subscribe. And that is another one from Knockout Legends. Peace.